Got married, I hit a little bit of an emotional breakdown because I thought marriage was going to fix all my problems.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into one of pop culture's most talked about love stories, Justin Bieber's past, his present marriage, and whether old flames still cast a shadow. Is it heartbreak that shapes a superstar, or growth? Stick around because by the end I'll break down the moments that sparked wild rumors.
Maybe you're not the person that you necessarily thought that you were.
Wild rumors, what Justin himself admitted about married life, and whether any of it points to real trouble, or just the messy side of fame. Hit like if you love celeb deep dives and subscribe so you don't miss my weekly breakdowns. Now let's rewind and start at the beginning. Justin and Selena didn't meet as adults, they grew up in the spotlight. Picture two teenagers with massive public attention, navigating first crushes while their lives were broadcast for millions. That early spark made for all the ingredients of a modern fairy tale: chemistry, paparazzi snapshots, and a fan base that invested in every text and tweet. But fairy tales rarely show the behind-the-scenes pressure. Imagine being young, figuring out who you are, and having every misstep broadcast and debated. That pressure amplifies normal relationship problems. Their relationship was a cycle of intense closeness and very public breakups. When you're still forming your identity and the whole world expects your next move, growth can feel like betrayal to yourself and to a partner. Fans celebrated their chemistry, and the media fed on every sign of tension. The result? A narrative where every reconciliation felt hopeful and every split looked catastrophic. What's important to remember is that both of them were evolving at different speeds. Selena pursued acting and personal recovery. Justin battled rapid career changes and the spotlight's long tail. That mismatch created emotional friction. Some fans interpreted that as proof of a toxic dynamic. Others simply saw two people who loved but weren't ready for the same life at the same time. By the time their most dramatic breakups happened, the relationship had become more than private heartbreak. It became a cultural storyline. Songs, interviews, and social media posts were read as evidence of feelings that might never truly be private again. For anyone telling this story now, the lesson is clear. Young love under the microscope rarely ends quietly. It leaves echoes in songs, in interviews, and in the way later relationships are judged. And those echoes follow both Justin and Selena as they move forward. Fast forward, Justin and Hailey tied the knot, but marriage didn't turn into an overnight fix. In public statements and interviews, Justin has been candid about how marriage forced him to face who he really was, not who his image projected. He said, in essence, that marrying young made him realize he'd hoped a relationship would heal things that only self-work could. On the flip side, celebrity unions come with unique complications: fans, exes, and constant commentary. There were moments that sparked speculation: a missing wedding ring at a public event, a quiet social media post, or an awkward pause on live streams, and the internet filled in the gaps. Those little signals, real or imagined, become proof-carrying clues in the court of public opinion. Trust issues in a marriage are normal. In a famous marriage, they're amplified. Rumors about friction, jealousy, or outside influences spread fast. Whether the rumors were accurate or exaggerated, the underlying pressure is real. Both partners have to manage their private relationship while the world watches for contradictions. For Justin, who's publicly discussed personal struggles and mental health, that can add extra strain. It's not about blame, it's about context. Fame adds friction, and the couple needs to do the work in private while fans and critics project their expectations in public. What's striking is how quickly small incidents become narratives. A silent reply becomes proof of trouble. A friendly photo with an ex becomes tabloid fuel. Behind the scenes, insiders sometimes describe typical marital learning: jealousy, communication breakdowns, and adjusting to life as a unit. But the public eye transforms these into drama. So when we see a headline hinting at trouble, take a breath. The truth often sits quietly between what's reported and what's actually happening behind closed doors. Now, let's talk about the most persistent subplot: Selena. Fans have never fully let go of that early romance, and sometimes neither have the narratives. The idea that an ex can be in the mix isn't always sinister. Old relationships create shared history, and in some cases, friends or common causes keep people connected. But when those connections involve global celebrities, every interaction becomes headline fodder. There were instances reported where Selena reportedly acted as a peacemaker, stepping in during a public disagreement or being part of conversations meant to cool tensions. Whether she did that out of compassion, habit, or concern for a friend, the optics were explosive. Social media quickly framed these moments as evidence of lingering feelings or triangle drama. The reality might be more mundane. Sometimes people who once loved each other maintain respectful communication, especially when public spillover threatens someone's reputation. Important to note, emotional bonds don't always equal romantic intent. Nostalgia and shared trauma can create empathy that looks like attachment to outsiders. Selena has spoken about healing and moving on. Justin's statements show he's working through his own expectations of marriage and identity. In that light, Selena's involvement could be an act of care rather than a rekindling. Another layer, fandoms can behave like teams. Once someone is on Team Selena, any perceived slight against her can feel personal, and the same goes for Team Hailey. That tribal energy turns simple interactions into conflict. So when an insider claims Selena stepped in, we should weigh two things: the human instinct to help someone you once cared about, and the fact that the celebrity echo chamber turns help into headlines. For content creators, that distinction is gold. Report the human motivations, but avoid overselling implication as fact. It keeps the narrative fair and believable. One of the most revealing parts of the story is Justin's own reflection. Marriage didn't magically solve everything. In candid moments, he's described emotional turbulence after saying, "I do," and that admission matters. It reframes the gossip from "he's unhappy" to "he's human, figuring it out." Mental health isn't glamorous, and admitting vulnerability in the spotlight is risky. Yet Justin chose transparency, and that changes the conversation. When celebrities talk about personal struggle, it helps destigmatize mental health, but it also invites intense scrutiny. Fans dissect every interview for hidden meanings, and detractors can weaponize honest moments to claim failure. The healthier angle is to treat public admissions as starting points, evidence someone is doing reflective work. Emotional breakdowns do not equal relationship collapse. They can be steps toward growth. Add to this the complications of chronic health concerns or public rumors about illnesses, and you have a recipe for misunderstanding. People asked about his well-being, and sometimes conversations about illness turned into an online debate about whose platform should be used for what. In couples, roles shift. One partner might be in the spotlight for sickness, the other for emotional labor, and the imbalance creates friction. So, where does that leave us? In a place where empathy matters. Justin's honesty suggests he's confronting his expectations and the gap between wanting marriage to fix him and realizing he needs internal work. That's huge. For viewers, it's a lesson. You can love someone and still carry wounds that require attention. The celebrity setting only makes those wounds visible. It doesn't change the underlying truth. If you're crafting commentary, center the person first. Talk about growth, not spectacle. We've followed a path from teenage romance to marriage and public reflection. So what should fans take away? First, don't conflate headlines with the whole story. Celeb relationships are messy because they're lived in public, but every relationship has private work that headlines can't capture. Justin's admissions about marital struggles don't tell you he loves Hailey any less. They tell you that he's learning what marriage really asks of a person. Second, empathy wins. Whether you're Team Selena, Team Hailey, or just Team Human, the kindest response to these stories is curiosity rather than verdict. Ask, what's the growth arc? Who's being supported? What's the real cost of living a life so visible? Those questions keep commentary grounded. Third, fame shifts the stakes, but not the fundamentals. Trust, communication, therapy, these are universal. For Justin and Hailey, being young, famous, and committed creates unique obstacles, but the tools to navigate them remain the same. Honest talk, boundaries, and time. Finally, how do you turn this into content that lands? Focus on context, timelines, direct quotes, and clarified rumors, and avoid sensationalizing. Give viewers a takeaway. What can they learn about relationships, about handling public pressure, or about growth? End with an invitation to reflect. What would you do if your life was on a stage and you still needed to heal?